The Microsoft Build Conference is the place to be for developers leveraging Microsoft's platforms or doing any kind of coding with a Windows PC. And just a few days ago, we announced that the conference would be held from May 21st to the 23rd, both online and in person in Seattle. Since this is such an important date in the Windows calendar, I wanted to do a little something special. I wanted to make a Build Conference countdown clock so I'd always know how many days we have left to prepare for the show. Now, I bought a bunch of different OLED displays for the Watchfinder project I've been hacking on, and I've got this extra 2.4-inch display that I thought would be perfect. I also had a spare Arduino Nano, and I bought a USB-C charging module and 18650 battery from AliExpress for just a few dollars. My goal was to get this all put together in an afternoon, and here's how I did. First, I got the basic components hooked up by wiring the power and I2C lines from the Nano to the screen. Then I was ready to get coding and hooked it up to my Windows PC. I've always used the Arduino IDE for my past projects, but I saw that there's an Arduino VS Code extension, so I wanted to give that a try. I installed the extension and used the board manager to configure things for my off-brand Nano. I also had the GitHub Copilot and chat extensions installed, and I used them extensively on this project. Here I used it to write the function that would scan for the I2C address of the screen, and then I used Copilot to help me write some simple Hello World code, and I made sure that that worked on my device. Then it was off to the races. I built a simple clock and added the date, and Copilot wrote me a function that advanced the day, taking into account the days in each month and leap years. It also wrote the function that calculated how many days from now until build. In well under an hour, I had the sketch all coded up. I didn't have time for buttons, so to set the time and date, I just used the serial port. The VS Code serial monitor worked great for this. Then I soldered up the charging module and battery and made sure it all worked when unplugged from the PC. Most of my projects don't just work, but I was very happy when this one did. Time to finish it all up. I launched Fusion 360 and started designing the case. First, I built a sketch of the screen with dimensions I measured with my digital caliper. Then I built the box around it. The screen is held on by 4 little posts and a good amount of hot glue. This is a quick and dirty project, so plenty of hot glue was used. I finished it up with a nice build logo and exported the meshes for my slicer. I wanted to use 2 different colors, so I exported one G-code for the logo and one for the box. Then I got my trusty Prusa Mark III off and running and had some dinner and played some Fortnite while it printed. That first print looked good, so I switched to black filament and got the second print started. The next day I had all the pieces and I was ready to assemble. I started with the charging module, making sure the USB-C port would be accessible from the back. Then I glued in the battery and started working on the screen, pushing it onto the posts and dropping some more dabs of hot glue. Then I slid in the build logo and put it all together with these cool brass screws I had. And there you go, a fun little reminder of the upcoming conference and a cool desk trinket. If you're interested in building this yourself, leave a comment below and I'll share out the meshes and code. And let me know if you find these maker-style projects interesting or not. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to hear more about how we've engineered Windows for developers, hit that subscribe button or reach out to me on Thread. Cheers!